to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Here.
Mr. Franco.
I'm here.
And Mr. Cabrera.
I am here in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. The notice requirements have been satisfied as to the time, place, and date of holding said meeting by posting notice on the bulletin board here in Borough Hall and by mailing and emailing same to the Herald of Cape May County and the Press of Atlantic City on October 15th, 2024. In the event of an emergency, your emergency exit is the door you came in, our front left, your back right, or the door just by the American flag. A couple quick reminders. I want to do a sound check. Mr. Kniff, how are we doing? We were good to go? All right, so this meeting is being shown live here today on the borough's Facebook page and also the YouTube channel. In the event you're watching the recorded version and you have a public comment that you would like to make, we have a conference line right here on the dais. You can use the phone number 888-363-4734, and then when prompted, you're going to enter the access code 9699020, followed by the pound or the hashtag. If you watch the recorded version of this meeting, you're more than welcome to email our clerk at clerk@wildwoodcrest.org and or phone her at 609-729-8040 in the event you have any further questions or public comment. I just heard myself echo. Was it? Okay. All right, Madam Clerk, we have some ordinances.
Yes,
one to
sir.
adopt, two, three to introduce.
Correct. The first is regarding the Cap Bank.
Motion that ordinance number 1448 be placed on second reading and final passage by title only.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1448 be placed on second and final reading by title only.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Ordinance 1448 reads as follows. An ordinance to establish Cap Bank for calendar year 2025 pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-45.14.
Motion that a public hearing now be held on ordinance number 1448.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that a public hearing on ordinance number 1448 now be held.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that a public hearing on ordinance number 1448.
We have to do the public hearing.
Excuse me,
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
All right, floor is open for public comments on ordinance number 1448. We'll start with anybody here in the audience today. Hearing none, we'll move to the conference line. Any public comments on ordinance number 1448? Hearing none?
Motion that a public hearing on ordinance number 1448 now be closed.
And I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded that the public hearing on ordinance number 1448 now be closed.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that ordinance number 1448 be passed on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second that.
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1448 be passed on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Okay, next we have ordinance 1449, and it reads as follows. An ordinance of the Borough of Wildwood Crest, amending and supplementing Article 1 of Chapter 37, Garbage, Rubbish, Solid Waste Management of the Code of the Borough of Wildwood Crest, regulating Section 4, Containers, Receptacles, Placement for Collection.
Motion that an ordinance number 1449 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading, public hearing on March 26, 2025 at 5 p.m.
I'll second it.
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1449 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading and public hearing on March 26th at 2025 at 5 p.m.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next, we have Bond Ordinance 1450, and it reads as follows. A bond ordinance appropriating $4,500,000 and authorizing the issuance of $4,275,000 bonds or notes of the borough for various improvements or purposes authorized to be undertaken by the Borough of Wildwood Crest in the County of Cape May, New Jersey.
Motion that ordinance number 1450 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading, and public hearing on April 9th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1450 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading, and public hearing on April the 9th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next, we have ordinance 1451, and it reads as follows. A bond ordinance providing for the improvement of the sanitary sewerage system in and by the borough of Wildwood Crest in the county of Cape May, New Jersey, appropriating $4 million, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $4 million bonds or notes of the borough for financing such appropriation.
Motion that ordinance number 1451 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading, and public hearing on April 9th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1451 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading and public hearing on April the 9th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next, we have the resolutions. The first is authorizing waiver of the fee required for special event application by the Wildwood Crest School District to host a graduation ceremony at Centennial Park on June 12th, 2025, from 5 to 7 p.m.
Motion?
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing special events permit to JLD Event Management and Timing, LLC, and co-sponsoring the official Wildwood Crest Run event taking place on October 3rd and 4th, 2025, and granting a non-exclusive limited license to use service marks.
Motion?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing award of the lease of a portion of the Nesbitt Center building pursuant to NJSA 40A:12-14A of the Local Lands and Building Law, Borough Lease Agreement Number 2025-001.
Motion. Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is canceling erroneous 2025 sewer rents in the amount of $124 for property located at 7201 Ocean Avenue.
Motion?
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is designating locations for portable vending units.
Motion?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is granting street opening permit due to hardship to create a depressed curb and install an apron at 218 East Syracuse Avenue.
I'll motion it.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing award of professional services contract to the Lomax Consulting Group for specialized engineering and environmental consulting services in conjunction with Beach Patrol Storage Yard Dune Restoration Part 2, Dune Restoration Construction Oversight, at the not-to-exceed sum of $9,800.
Motion it.
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing a memorandum of agreement between the Borough of Wildwood Crest and the City of North Wildwood, City of Wildwood, and the Greater Wildwood Tourism Improvement Development Authority for Jitney Transportation Services.
I'll motion it.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is accepting work performed and authorizing release of performance bond and accepting maintenance bond for the Beach Street End Public Access Improvements Phase 3 contract.
Motion?
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is amending Green Team Resolution Number 22-364, adopted on December 28, 2022, to allow for the composition of 5 to 7 members and authorizing reappointment of James McGinty with term expiring December 31st, 2026.
Motion.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is canceling erroneous 2024 and 2025 sewer rents in the amount of $248 for property located at 110 West Wisteria Road.
Motion.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing award of contract for landscaping services, Borough Contract Number 2025-2.
Motion.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing Borough Engineer work order for 2025 road resurfacing program at the not-to-exceed sum of $20,000.
Motion.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is opposing Atlantic City Electric's 17.23% electricity rate increase, calling on AC Electric to withdraw their application to the New Jersey BPU for additional 8% increase up for consideration in April 2025, and calling on members of the NJBPU to resign immediately due to their failure to uphold their fiduciary duty as board members.
That would be wonderful. I'll motion that.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes, 100%.
And Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing award of proprietary purchase of goods or services with Grand Turk for repair of street sweeper at the not-to-exceed sum of $32,701.56.
Motion it.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing award of professional services contract for specialized legal services to Christopher Orlando and the law firm of Parker McKay, PA, at the not-to-exceed sum of $5,000.
Motion it.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Lastly is authorizing the chief financial officer to pay the prescribed flat rate per hour to law enforcement pursuant to the 2025 Distracted Driving Crackdown Grant.
Motion.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Thank you. Yes.
Sorry. Mr. Franco.
Yes.
And Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid.
I'll second it.
It has been moved and seconded that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid. Mr. Schiff. Roll call.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Thanks, Trish.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Trish. Okay, that brings us to correspondence. Madam Clerk, I believe we have an email from
We do.
Brian Schwartz. Do you want to read that
Yes, sir.
into the record?
He said, although, although I am unable to attend the morning meeting on 3/12 due to work obligations, I ask that you please share this as part of the public comment. In quotes, I provide my full support for a resolution that withdraws Wildwood Crest from the DEP Dune project. The beach markup on Heather Road confirmed by the mayor concerns about the detrimental effects this project would have on Wildwood Crest beaches. We cannot allow our beautiful beaches to be destroyed. Sand for North Wildwood can be sourced from offshore areas as it was last spring, and we already have healthy dunes in Wildwood Crest. End of quote.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, next on the agenda under correspondence, we have our wellness coordinator, Laura Farrell. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, my name is Laura Farrell, and I'm the Wellness Coordinator for the Borough of Wildwood Crest. The Mayor's Wellness Committee is an advisory board and think tank for the Mayor's Wellness Campaign. We have a total of 25 or more projected initiatives for the year. The Wellness Monthly Calendar of Events is featured on wildwoodcrest.org. These are our Mayor's Wellness events from the fall of 2024 to the spring of 2025. Crest Memorial Mayor's Wellness Art Contest. This year, children are designing a personal deck of affirmation cards with a gift box under the direction of the art teacher, Linda Ennis. The winners will be chosen in June. Adult Fitness. This is a total body strength training fitness program designed for mature adults. This class meets at Crest Pier Recreation 3 times a week on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 10 a.m., and I happen to teach that class. Walking Wednesdays, which I also teach, is a free weekly 30-minute choreographed dance fitness program, which meets at 9 to 9:30. This is a fun-filled, low-impact aerobics class. Pink T-shirt sales. In October, shirts were sold to support breast cancer awareness. Zumba Pink Party, a dance party held to raise awareness and money in the battle against breast cancer. Latin Pump. This was an adult exercise program featuring dance and lightweight sculpting and was held in the evening at Crest Pier through December of 2024. The Food Exchange. This was an online community forum designed to encourage discussion on and information on food, nutrition, and healthy living. This was featured on the Mayor's Wellness Campaign page, facebook.com/WWC Wellness. File of Life program. This was a free program presented by William Cripps and our EMS team in partnership with AARP. File of Life is a national program that provides first responders with information they need to help provide the best care for individuals in the event of an emergency. Attendees were given a magnet, which provides a template to list medical history, pharmaceuticals, and emergency contacts. The file is hung on the refrigerator for easy access. This provides a valuable resource for paramedics to ensure safety in the event of an emergency. Holiday Food Drive, which is ongoing throughout the year. Food and personal care products are collected at Crest Pier Recreation Center to support local food pantries. Wildwood Crest Holiday Lights Walk. The community came together for a walk along Sunset Lake and surrounding neighborhoods to view holiday light displays. This is a festive annual fitness event. Now here are some ongoing and projected 2025 activities. In 2025, starting in January, we had a wellness questionnaire, which is actually still ongoing if anybody wants to put in their answers to this questionnaire. We conducted an anonymous wellness survey. The information gathered helps us to design programming based upon our community needs and interests. We received Walmart grant funding thanks to New Jersey Healthcare Quality Institute and have developed wellness programs for seniors and children. And here are the 2 programs. This is brand new. It is Fit Kids. This weekly class features aerobics, dance fitness, and yoga. Dance to the beat of top 40 music. It's open to kids from age 9 to 12. Parents must complete a student registration form. There is no fee. The class meets at Crest Pier on Tuesdays from 4:30 to 5:20 p.m. The other program is our new wellness workshop. This is a mindfulness class featuring gentle chair and standing yoga, stretching, balance exercises, movement, synchronized breath work, sound bath meditation, and journaling. This is for seniors, veterans, those with limited physical abilities, and anyone who is interested. You are all welcome. There is no fee. The class meets on Tuesdays at Crest Pier from 5:30 to 6:20 p.m. Mayor's Wellness Checklist Challenge for Crest Memorial students. This initiative is for students, parents, staff, and Crest Memorial School and the public. Participants were given a checklist of wellness activities to engage in and complete during February and March. All participants will receive a Team Iron Mayor baseball cap, which is actually pretty cool. Okay, Lunch and Learn. This was on February 26th. We hosted a lecture in partnership with Cooper Cape Regional Hospital. The Lunch and Learn event was held at Crest Pier Recreation Center. Dr. Meena Sharma led a talk on integrative medicine. She discussed how stress affects the body and provided useful tips and healing strategies, including mindfulness activities and guided meditation. The 100-mile virtual race. This is an honor-based community challenge featured on Facebook. It's ongoing throughout this month. Participants walk, run, swim, cycle, or pedal the elliptical during the first 30 days of March. Individual miles are recorded, and the winners will be announced at the end of the month. Champion of Wellness Ceremony. We will be hosting the second annual Champion of Wellness Ceremony for the community. The event includes a ceremony honoring our new wellness champions and a celebratory luncheon. This event will take place at the CAP Center Saturday, March 22nd from 11 to 12 p.m. An informal chat with Shane Moyer. Meet Shane Moyer, our Wildwood Crest police officer. He knows from personal experience what it's like to live with diabetes 1. He wants to share his story to offer hope to anyone who might be struggling with this condition. Shane will discuss how he thrives through personal care and health management. Join us for this open format discussion at Wildwood Crest Recreation on Saturday, April 12th from 11 to 12 p.m. The Mayor's Wellness Walk. Our annual community walk with Mayor Don Cabrera will be held on Saturday, May 17th at 8:30 a.m. We will meet on the porch of Crest Pier. The first 75 participants will receive a wellness shirt. Employee Wellness Day. A licensed medical sports massage therapist will be made available to employees by appointment only to discuss pain injury management and receive diagnosis, short tissue mobilization, assisted stretching, and manual therapy to alleviate minor aches and pains. Employees are invited to participate in a free spin class at Shore Fitness with their coworkers on a Saturday morning, dates to be announced. Additionally, Shore Fitness has offered reduced membership fees to all employees as an incentive to boost greater wellness. Health and Environmental Wellness Expo. This health information event will include health professionals, medical screenings, fitness demos, and over 33 wellness vendors. We will be expanding our event this year to include vendors specializing in clean environmental solutions. Representatives will share information on beach cleanup, recycling, mosquito control, solar panels, conservation, and organic gardening. This event is set for Wednesday, June 11th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Crest Pier Recreation. And lastly, we have been selected by the New Jersey Healthcare Quality Institute to once again hold the title New Jersey Healthy Town for the 5th year in a row. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. And I think on behalf of the governing body, we'd like to thank, Laura does an excellent job coordinating the wellness program on behalf of the borough. So Laura, thank you very much. 5 years that's not something to be taken lightly. People just say, oh yeah, you just kind of apply. You really don't, because there's a whole very detailed application process to be considered. And, you know, I think if you listen to all the things that we've done in 2024 and 2025, there's wellness programs for everybody, because everyone's definition of wellness, I think, is a little bit different, but you can always find something going on with Laura's programs and over at the recreation team. So, Laura, thank you. Brian, Frank, everybody, Nick, everybody that's involved in the program, thank you. And hopefully we'll see everybody at the March 22nd event for the Champions of Wellness, and certainly for the walk. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to our discussion items. There's nothing listed under new business, so I'm going to breeze down through the old business. Bicycle safety and bike path. It's my understanding that the public safety has ordered some signs to be installed before the season.
There'll be directional signs up there.
Directional signs, okay. And that will, we've received some complaints in the past, although we think it's common sense that you kind of go right, keep right and pass left. Just, it helps make sure that we are communicating effectively to everybody that uses that bike path, because it does get very crowded up there. The 250th birthday committee, we're still looking for volunteers to serve on that. As you know, next year our country celebrates its 250th birthday. Wildwood Crest Municipal App, there was a Zoom call held with various members of the borough. We received a quote for that, so we'll plan on reviewing that internally with everybody and decide what options we may be interested in for introducing later this year. Old tourism building use, we can take that off. We just awarded that here under the resolution, so there'll be a cafe in the old tourism building, bringing some revenue into the borough. Historical Museum is on hold. Concession agreement, hotel zone, that's also on hold. Traffic calming is, I haven't received anything more from the county on that, and I know that some of that's going to be addressed in some of the iBank applications that Mr. de Blasio's office is doing. Back beach excavation, Mark's office is surveying the back beaches, and he will coordinate with Public Works to raise the height of the sand for the proper drainage, so we don't have the ponding in the back beaches. Anything on dredging, Commissioner?
Well, Francine and I have contacted the DOT. They're still in the acquisition phase, so we're waiting to hear back from them.
Okay. New Jersey Avenue infrastructure pre-county. So in the bond that we just introduced, one of the bonds we just introduced today, the infrastructure work for that program that has to start before the county starts their program is looking to the funding's being put in place, but the construction for that project is likely to start sometime after the summer this year. Public Works roof, I don't have anything on it. Julia, we have anything on the Public Works roof? I know that they're getting closer, but they're wrapping. I know they're okay. All right, Madam Clerk, I think we can take this one now off the agenda. Washington Seaview Beachfall outfalls and capacity. We're still waiting to hear word from FEMA and Congressman Van Drew's office. I'm going to jump down to the Borough Hall renovations here real quick. So we're waiting for an estimate from an architect to consider the police side of the building as well as the exterior of Borough Hall for some renovations. So we did have a meeting with them. We're just waiting on the proposal. And last but not least, we're going to touch on the Army Corps Dune and the DEP involvement. So yesterday, the borough, we received a letter from the commissioner of the DEP, basically stating that March 18th is the deadline for Wildwood Crest to make a decision as to whether or not we're participating in the project or not. I'm not going to read the letter. If you want a copy of it, you can get a copy of it from the clerk's office, but I'm not going to argue or defend the borough's position here. I don't think this is the proper venue to do that, but I do find that there's a lot of opinion in this letter. I'm not sure I agree with most of it, and I'll leave it at that. We'll let when the time comes, we will certainly address what we need to address. But we had asked, so you heard us talk about Heather Road and kind of we surveyed the 95% plans of what was presented to us by the Army Corps. And as a result of that survey, when Mark's surveyors put the stakes out on the beach, we took it a step further and wanted to get a video done, so because it's easy to talk about but hard to understand, right? So I think this video captures everything that we've been talking about. So I don't know. I think these TVs can tell. Yeah, can we swivel them? Let's swivel them back. It's a little less than a minute video, and we'll probably post it up on social media. Here you go. All right. There's no sound, so don't worry about that.
Turn the lights down a little, so it'll be easier to see everything.
All right.
Thank you. Much better. Is that too dark? I don't know which light.
No, that's
No, you're good.
That's good.
Let it roll.
Okay.
You gonna do play-by-play, Mark?
I'm going to do a second round. I'll do it. Okay, so that was a 58-second, 59-second video. So if you don't mind, I'll go through and I'll point out what I believe what I know our position has been in various meetings with the state and with the Army Corps. We've communicated many, different options. We've asked a lot of questions. But if we can show it again, and Trish, if you don't mind me, if I say, if you can you pause what we say? Okay. So let's go ahead and start. All right. So this is the video flying north. And here, so stop there, please. All right. So I want to point out, if you look at how wide our existing dune system is now. Okay. So it's roughly half of our beach assuming that the water is at the low tide mark. You see all the access points, you see how thick and how vegetated our dunes is. So the very front, the easterly side of those dunes, one of the things in the proposal, it takes away, the project eliminates the front part of that dune and basically pushes that front part of the dune up almost to the, kind of like the midway point of, if you look, you can see an area kind of like a center line in the center of that dune, almost pushes it back to that level, or back to that distance. Where Trish, I don't know if you can see the arrow.
I'm trying to do that for you so you can see it.
Yeah.
That's where that orange thing is.
Yeah. So the dune would basically go there at about 16 feet high. All right. In doing so, now if you look at the width of our beach, go ahead, Trish. You can go. Okay, stop there, please. All right, so you see the proposed dune on the layout. You can see the fishing pier a little further, at the top of the screen. Go ahead. Borrow area A, B, and C. Okay, stop there, please. All right, so borrow area A. If you look, there's different, because the crest beaches are wider in some areas and skinnier in others. Borrow area A is an area that a lot of that's in the water at low tide. Borrow area B is what I'll call the crux of the sand that they want to use to send down to North Wildwood. And also to build the new dune that we had showed earlier. Borrow area C, in our discussions, the DEP said, hey, if it makes you happy, we won't use that area to build the dune. So that's pretty much off the table at this point. So what we're really looking at now is borrow area A and borrow area B. All right, go ahead, Trish. Existing mean high water line, proposed low water after the project. Okay, so stop there, please. All right, so you can see the distance between the existing mean high water line and the proposed is roughly 650 feet in this area. As you look south, it skinnies up even more. So so that area, the new high tide line, if you can kind of see through the graphics, it basically puts you at the end or close or even further to the bike path past the existing fishing pier. So if you can imagine that being our, the area behind that basically being our new bathing beach at high tide, that significantly limits the enjoyment that our public and our residents have come to love of Wildwood Crest. So I think we all agree that, Wildwood Crest, I think we can safely say we all believe that this is the best beach on the East Coast. If we were to do this project, it now becomes shrunk. There's public safety issues, there's space issues, there's ADA access issues. The list goes on and on and on. And in our meetings, we had proposed different ideas, like, hey, can we do this? Can we do this? And the answer is overwhelmingly no. We believe that we're the only, if you look at how big the dune system is, that we have adequate protection. Case in point, if you go back to October, when there's the two hurricanes hit the west coast of Florida, which their beaches aren't even close like this, they fared fairly well. I think we all agree that the flooding on this island comes more from the west side, on the bay side, than it does here on the ocean front. Now, that water line will, in essence, get moved closer to the bike path and the bulkhead. So if there is that one in every 100-year storm, and we get that hurricane that said, they say that 16-foot high dune, even though the water's now closer to the bike path, will give the oceanfront adequate protection. And I'm just trying to get my hands around it. When you move the water, just, no matter if it's 16 feet, because by the fishing pier, if you look at the north side, it is already at 16 feet. The south side is around 18 feet. The dune project, as it intersects with the fishing pier, takes the dune underneath the fishing pier. We already have a problem with the dune system that we have now affecting the enjoyment of the pier from a maintenance standpoint and a structural standpoint. So we're constantly having to do cleanup and work to keep it open to the public. In our discussion, you're going to hear people talk about the state aid agreement. The state aid agreement was signed to keep the project going, because there were times over the last 10 years that this project was going to not happen. And they said, hey, you need to sign a state agreement so we can basically show that there's interest in the project. Is there interest? Absolutely there's interest, but not that kind of interest. That's why when the project was 60 to 65%, and it's now 95%, we all know you don't sign contracts until there's a meeting of the minds, when everybody has all their issues worked out. We were advised that the state agreement was needed to keep the project moving along. We signed the state aid agreement. In the state aid agreement, also addressed alert credit, that how the dune impacts the fishing pier. In essence, at the time when this was discussed, that the fishing pier would have to be rebuilt to go over top of this new dune to keep the pier intact. So anyway, that pretty much summarized. I think the graphics of this is pretty clear, and it helps everybody understand. Because when you hear articles in the paper and you get letters and you get bits and pieces of information, you really can't get your hands around it. I think this video, and Mark, kudos to your office and your surveying group for putting this together. This will help the public and anyone understand what is happening and what is being presented as part of this project. Thanks, Trish.
Lights on now?
Yes, please.
And then can we get this on our website so that people can?
Yes, Mr. Kniff, can we get this on the borough's website, please? Okay, is there any questions on this? I want to make sure that anybody, yes, sir.
So what?
I just, for the record.
Yes, ma'am. David McWilliams. Help me understand, I mean, we're taking sand out and that's why the water line's moving? All the way down the beach?
Yes.
How much? A couple feet?
Every 30 feet is 1 foot. Every 100 feet is 1 foot, I'm sorry.
Every 100 feet?
It drops 1 feet towards the ocean, so it
Towards the
slopes
ocean.
this way.
Okay. You might want to put a bullet item, I mean, this is good, but somebody said, well, how? I mean, as you went through it, I'm figuring, okay, how is that occurring?
Right, gotcha.
Okay. Well, I'm here, one more question. Have any of the other municipalities expressed reservations about this project?
Yes.
Obviously, we formally said, hey, we're not interested. Okay, have anybody else on the island said they're
So
not?
let me ask you, Wildwood Crest, so where it's at right now, we had sent a letter opposing the project. Opposing the project in the sense is like, hey, let's sit down and talk about some more of the details and maybe we can work something out. Basically, there's discussions and those asks of ours have been shot down. So we have been asked now to put together on March 18th a formal letter basically saying, hey, we're definitely out. Here's our resolution stating so. So that needs to happen according to the commissioner of the DEP, Sean LaTourette's letter, by March the 18th. My understanding is that obviously North Wildwood wants the project because they're the recipient of all the sand. Mm-hmm. My understanding is that Wildwood is at this time opposed to the project. In my conversations with the mayor of Wildwood, and my understanding of Lower Township, that their beaches are all privately owned. So the private property owners, the owners of those beaches, are opposed to the project. However, the Lower Township itself is taking a position that they're not for it or against it. They're whatever happens types of approach, because they don't, again, as I mentioned, they don't own the beach.
And I'm assuming these dunes go all the way through Wildwood in front of the boardwalk as well, the new dunes.
Not so much.
Yeah, we do
do have the plans that you are more than welcome to look at.
Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Joyce Gould, former mayor, former deputy mayor, in politics in this borough for 28 years. Beautiful beaches, beautiful beaches, beautiful beaches. That's all I'm hearing. And there are beautiful beaches. But there's a little bit more than that. There are beautiful homes, and there are a lot of people that live here. According to statistics that I got from the clerk's office, county clerk, the net taxable value for Wildwood Crest for the 2024 abstract rate abilities is $2,385,210,900. That's what our little town is worth, okay? Beautiful beaches are wonderful, but there's more to it. There are homes and there are people. People make their livelihood. There's money here. When I saw this, you know, Don, you voted against this the first time. The three of us voted against it the first time, 4 years ago. It'll be 4 years in December, okay? I can't understand why you've seen hurricanes coming. You've seen them become stronger and stronger. Fire and water, they're such strong elements. They can kill anything. They can take people away. You've seen this happen. Just because maybe the storms that we get start from the west isn't saying that it's not going to come. I don't know if the big one is ever going to come. We've talked about this for years. I have lived here for 59 years, and we've never had the big one. I was not here in the 62 storm, but that was just a flood. But a flood did a lot of damage. People in the crest were lucky because it is the crest because it's the highest point of the island. And people don't get the water that normally you would get in Wildwood or North Wildwood. But I think that we are making a huge, huge mistake by doing this. Mr. Franco, that you're voting for it, and you have a beachfront property, would you be willing to give up that motel? I mean, would that make your family happy that you spent all these years, blood, sweat, and tears, doing that?
Would I be willing to give it up?
Yeah, because that's what's going to happen if you get a big storm. You're going to be giving it up because that water is going to take everything. I don't think anything is really, you've never really thought about the people and the money that this would incur from this town. It would be catastrophic. Altogether, probably in 100 years, there won't be the Wildwoods anymore. It'll all be sunk by tides going up and higher and higher and higher because that's what's happening. The seas are rising. We know the seas are rising, and yet we're saying, we're so good, we don't need anything. We're so smart, we don't need anything. And gentlemen, the three of you, if that big one comes and this town is destroyed, they will hang you by your you-know-whats, and it will hurt. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Joe Viscomi. If we agree not to be in it, will they listen to that, or is that an art?
Say that again?
So if you back out of it, if we don't agree to it, will they just not do it, or no?
So there is funding for the entire project only on set by the Army Corps. So the deadline, if we decide not to participate and we send the letter, the funding will be reallocated to somewhere else.
Well, that's worse. So if you decide not to participate, they just won't do it. That's
Correct.
so we do have a choice in it.
Correct.
Yeah, and I respect other people's opinion on it, but I worry that we're going to change something that we don't know what the effect is going to be, and I'm not confident. I'm not confident that whatever they change is going to be positive in the future. So I'm just worried about playing with nature. But so then we do have a choice, which I agree with you guys that we should just leave it where it is. Do we have a choice to build up those current dunes there down the road, or we would do that at our own cost? So the alternative would be to leave everything the way it is, and in the future just build up the current dunes higher and do the walkway so they are coming up, so we're slightly more protected.
Well, due to the winds, those dunes are going to build up anyway.
Well, I know, and I know going to the beach over the years they are building up. So
Right. One of my concerns about this whole project is the fact that it changes the topography of the water itself. We could end up like Cape May with a cliff in there or just a drop off.
And the point I brought up was excellent about, so we're going to lose a foot in every 100 feet. So we're going to lose 6 feet. So it's a 6 foot cut. It's a 6 foot cut and 6 foot.
Gradually, yep.
Yeah. So at the end, again, it's a 6 foot 6.5 foot cut. So that, and I think that's an important thing, is that we're really, it's gonna be like what we have in what they have in Cape May, where they have the injuries because of that cut is so great.
So I think as you saw the video, everyone knows how big and expansive our current dune system is. They're going to eliminate part of that to build a dune that's slightly higher, because we have dunes that are higher than what's being proposed already. And so if we can build those up, but they're going to say, well, the walkways that are cut through makes the oceanfront compromised. So I think the answer to that is listen, forecasted storms are forecasted, right? So if there's a hurricane moving up, a big one, we could easily go out to bid and have a contractor on board to pull the sand that we need to fill up those areas and keep this, when I say the areas, I'm talking about where the walkways come down through. Yeah. Have a contractor on emergency contract to say, hey, we get a storm, we need you to come out here with your heavy equipment and fill all these holes up and help us protect our ocean front.
Are we allowed to build them up so permanently build up? So like I believe in some of the other towns where they actually build up. So when you walk to the beach, you're actually going up a little bit of a hill. Are you allowed to do that, or does that require approval?
That's a permitting issue.
That's a permit. Because that would be the alternate to, instead of doing everything, is just to build up all those access. Like on Washington Avenue, where you drive onto the beaches, actually come up a little bit and go down. So that would kind of split the difference.
There may be another answer to all this stuff, and I hear what you're saying, because I think it's good. If we're going to say no to something, we should have an alternate idea that could help protect us. Yeah. And I didn't get an opportunity to speak to the commissioners or Mr. de Blasio about this, but if you look at the pathway going down to the beach, if we actually had another dune system to the side of it where you kind of went around it, that may block it, the water coming up. I'm not an expert at this, but it's just an idea and it's an alternative. I don't know what the answer is, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, and my worry is that we're changing something. We'll never know, when they do this, we'll never know what the total result will be 10 years from now, because we're playing with nature, and that worries me.
So about 12 years ago, 10 or 12 years ago, those of you who may remember, we allowed North Wildwood to take sand from the crest beaches, and it created gullies and ponding in the back beaches for years. It took us 4 years for Mother Nature to do exactly what used to build those back beaches up on its own. So the dune project is all built on that 1 in 100-year storm. Is there a potential that 1 in 100 could? Yeah, absolutely. Do we have protection more so than many other municipalities? I mean, the argument, if you read this letter, says all the New Jersey beaches have oceanfront protection. I can tell you that's inaccurate. We've got more protection right here than a lot of the counties of the people that have beaches in Cape May County alone. So.
Well, I thank you for coming up. This was a great graphic, because you're right. And people don't realize when they say 16, the height of the dune, it's not the physical height, it's off of the benchmark. But I appreciate you doing it. This was good. For people that are for it or against it, at least they could see what it actually is. I think I would just add the cut to that, so you actually see at the end of that 6 foot, on the east side of that 600 foot, you're going to be 6 foot down.
Gotcha.
So thank you.
Okay. Mr. de Blasio, can we re-edit the video to include or show the slope of the beach? I think the scale is every 100 feet it drops a foot. You have to just double check the plan.
Yeah, probably what we would do is we would take the graphic from their actual plans. They have a cross-section.
Okay.
Mark, I have a quick question about this. So after 4 years, for replenishment, it's congressional funding, right, for that? If they don't have the funding, what happens? Who funds it?
You.
Right. So I don't know if that answers Mrs. Gould's question or not, but that funding will come directly from us if there's no congressional funding.
From us includes all of us, all the taxpayers, not, that's what us is. It's
Yes.
the whole town.
I guess what's being said is there's no guarantee 4 years from now that money will be there to build the dunes back up the way they're supposed to be.
And when and if you will go through with this, and you will go through with this, that I'm sure of, the fact that you said about the DEP becoming friends, with us and being on a good talking relationship, I have a feeling that they're going to say Wildwood Crest is probably part of the Ukraine, because I think they're going to wipe their hands of us altogether.
I'm not sure that's quite true, but you may be right.
Well, we would hope not, because I think we've been, as I said before, we've been nothing but good partners with the DEP. We've complied. We've had the meetings we needed to have in advance. We've done everything at the advice of our engineer and
up front.
up front. So, and we're being upfront with everything here. If there was some opportunity for negotiation, I think that but there's just no. It's like this is the project, and we're going to remove the bar area C, and that's it. That's the best that we can do. And we're thinking, okay, well, that significantly changes. So, building. I get the 100-acre storm, but the now is that as hotels, motels, businesses, residents enjoy your beaches the way that they are, this will significantly change the personality of our beaches and our brand. And that's a question, and other than your comments, Mrs. Gould, I got to be honest, that was the first, I think, for comment, the project that I've heard in the last couple of weeks and months. So anyway, I think, in fairness, we're trying to do our due diligence. That is the reason for us to keep pushing back to the decision, because we want to make sure that it is the right decision and that we are listening to residents and that, we're weighing out the pros and the cons and doing all that. But now, the request is to make a decision, because the decision is whether or not they need to reallocate the money. And if we had some more open dialogue and hoping that they would listen to some of our ideas and discussions, maybe that would work. But this is the plan, and that's it.
Well, one of the things I have to say, and working on the beach for all the years that I've been down there, is that beach is our boardwalk. That's what brings all the people to us. If we didn't have the beach, they wouldn't fill the hotels. They wouldn't come and rent. And the beach wasn't here. So that beach is our boardwalk that brings people in. And I understand the love for the beach immensely. And I don't want to lose blanket space for the people. And also the part that our beach is so wide, it gives people the opportunity to spread out, not to be up on everybody's blanket and things like that. So I look at that beach as just as our boardwalk that brings our people here.
Okay, anybody else, any comments, questions? Yes, sir.
Carl Schmoyer, 5201 Ocean Avenue. I'm a City of Wildwood resident. Three key points I'd like to mention. Mr. Mayor, Don, you had mentioned about when the sand was taken from both the Crest and the city's beaches and trucked to North Wildwood. That ponding still occurs from Leeming to Rio Grande Avenue. That has not replenished itself. And that ponding is there from around this time. If we get some rain, it'll be there till Memorial Day until it's raked out. So that has not replenished itself. Number two, the borrow point or borrow area C contradicts everything. There's no one from the DEP here to somewhat defend themselves, but that contradicts everything that the DEP stands for in destroying dunes that have naturally built and for the last 25 years. 25 years ago, those dunes weren't there. And you take a blade of grass and you're fined. You read this in the paper continually, and that's a big concern to me. And I'm not a member of the Spotted Owl Society, but there's a lot of wildlife that lives in there. I see this on a weekly basis, and especially at night, you go for a little walk, you have a flashlight, there you see 1,000 eyes looking at you, and they're not feral cats. I've seen every bit of wildlife in there except the black bear. So I have a big problem with them taking those parts of those dunes away. And this 6 feet, or the 100-foot, 6 foot, however you had explained that, that may be for the first couple of months, but Mother Nature will change that. How can they predict, unless you're going to pour concrete and build a cement pond like the Beverly Hillbillies? I think you're going to end up with a situation like is in Cape May, and you're going to have injuries and swimming and other, opening up a lot of can of worms for trying to, I don't know how you shrink a beach.
All right. Yeah, so the two big aspects of this project, to summarize it, is the sand transporting down to North Wildwood and the building of the dune. So we talked about the North Wildwood before, when we got the sand, what you just mentioned, and having issues with that. And the dune system, as I said, we have a dune system now that's pretty robust. I guess my concern or my question, I mean, because a lot of this has to do with the sand going down to North Wildwood. And I don't know what needs to happen, because I'm not an engineer, but it seems to me that instead of, taking sand from neighboring municipalities, perhaps we fix the problem. Like, why is the sand going away in North Wildwood? Fix and address that problem, and then that way we won't have to tamper with other beaches to make it happen. And I think that there is a solution where sand can be dredged from Hereford Inlet to go to North Wildwood. So if we could remove that off the table and then just focus on the dune, if there's some more things that we need to do to make our dune system even more robust, we're happy to talk about it. But unfortunately, all those ideas and discussions have basically been said, we can't do it. Not going to happen. So, all right, that wraps up the discussion under the old business. And is there any other public comments before we close and go into closed session? We have one last thing on the agenda, and that is a report from Public Works. Julie, you have your report? None? Okay. All right, we're...
Mike Marino has a comment. Didn't you say you?
Okay. All right. Madam Clerk, I believe we have a resolution.
Are you doing commissioner comments or no?
I don't have it. I'm good.
Okay, very good. So we have a closed session authorizing executive closed in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, specifically NJSA 10:4-12B, with regard to 3 items: safety measures on the bike path, borough interviews for administrator, and potential litigation for the dunes.
Motion?
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes, we'll take a 5